On today's show, the Ottawa Senators used a defensive masterclass to upset the Colorado Avalanche 5-2.
And it's all systems go until the Olympic break.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller. Today is Thursday, January 29th. And Pillsy, I think I've watched this condensed game more than I have any in a long time.
Yeah, it just feels so much better to wake up after a win, Ross, and you're like, ooh, let's make a coffee. First, let's hate watch all the Colorado Avalanche stuff. Let's watch their post game only. Jared Bednar was available that we found. It'd be nice to hear from some of the players. Let's go listen to Locked On Avalanche, our good friends over there, see what they thought about the game. Then let's watch the Sens post game pressers. Let's watch the Sens video after. Travis Green cracking jokes, going to Nick Cousins. Nick, what were you doing out there? That was all time. And Nick's just like, I don't even know. That's my first time doing that. And watching their post-game pressers, watching the condensed game, looking back at some of the highlights from Jack's live stream, laughing about the postcast. Like, it's just great to wake up in a good mood and get to indulge in Ottawa Senators content.
And what an earned victory last
time.
night by the Senators. There were multiple occasions where earlier this season they would have found a way to allow a mistake to compound and let the game slip away. Ottawa allows the tying goal 1-1. Parker Kelly gets Avalanche on the board, and you're like, oh, nope, all good. Next shift, Ridley Gregg makes it 2-1, and then a bad giveaway from Claude Giroux after he scored. And then they get back to within one. There's plenty of time left at that point in the game, and they're able to clamp down and get it done.
Ross, the moment when I thought this was over and I was like, oh no, they're going to do it, when Michael Amadio hit the post on the empty net. As soon as that happened, I was like, no, that is exactly how you lose hockey games and you end up on SportsCenter misplays of the day. Not that it was like an easy, obvious chance you should have scored. It was kind of quick, bang, bang play, traffic in front, whatever. But it's those moments where you don't put the dagger into your opponents. You get close, and a team like the Colorado Avalanche is like, oh my God, we almost got our throats slit there. We got to come back and push back. I thought for sure once that happened, they weren't going to get it. That's why that Brady Tkachuk goal is so huge. That's why Nick Cousins was losing his mind on the bench. And after he said, he was like, yeah, I got really excited for that goal because the Avalanche were pressing there. So that for me was a moment where I really thought the Sens weren't going to get it done. Not only does Brady get that goal, but how about Timmy putting there's already icing on the cake, but he's slapping another layer of icing on that cake and poking it through the legs of Cale Makar, of all people, to get the empty net breakaway goal to make it 5-2. Like, just an absolute, can I say, masterclass of a game? Because it really was. Like, you could look at so many different aspects of this game, and if you're Travis Green and the coaching staff, you're like, this is what we want from you. Just run this back 29 more times for the rest of the season.
The Ottawa Senators held the Colorado Avalanche elite high-octane offense to only 1.75 expected goals at 5-on-5. The number climbs a little bit when you add in their flurry at the end of the game when they had the goalie pulled. They were in the offensive zone, but Ottawa holding the Avalanche to that few of chances, for lack of a better term, is the most outstanding part of this game. And a ton of credit needs to go to Shane Pinto, Nick Cousins, Michael Amadio, Jake Sanderson, and Artem Zub, who were out there just about every single shift against Nathan MacKinnon's line, and they did their job perfectly, especially the defensemen for me. Like, you look at the game, a lot of the credit going to Jake Sanderson, and rightfully so, had those two unbelievable plays defensively, the stick on puck against Makar on a break, and then selling out when Makar was walking all alone and blocking that pass across into the lane. Incredible. Artem Zub was just as good in this game and had just as tough an assignment. And his play was outstanding to me. Just the composure that both those guys showed. We talk about communication with Zub sometimes, but it felt like they were on the same page all night. And just like the quick little plays to get out of their own zone. There was one play, and it's just such a high elite talent play that you don't really, it doesn't show up obviously on the score sheet or anything, but where Sanderson pulled the puck behind the net, and I think it was Brock Nelson that didn't want to give him any time. So he came and spun. And Sanderson did, it's almost like an NBA fast break where he pushed the puck like 5 feet ahead of him, took 2 strides, and then chased to get it back. It was like he almost like lost possession on purpose so that he could speed even faster. And then next thing you know, they're in the neutral zone and going into an offensive setup. Like, he is playing at such an elite high level that I think you can just sit back and watch every one of his shifts last night, and such a limited number of mistakes, and then helping his team in so many different areas. And I'm so happy that he was able to get on the score sheet in this game with a beautiful indirect pass, which is becoming a signature of his game now, Pilsy. We saw it in Winnipeg in the overtime game winner, off the boards, bang, and it's on the stick, away you go. That play to get it to Brady Tkachuk was awesome, and with a ton of challengers against him. Like, they were swarming him, and he's like, no, off the boards, right on the tape of Brady, who makes no mistake. All 6 defensemen for the Ottawa Senators had exactly 1 point last night. Sanderson, what? Oh,
incorrect.
Correct.
And if you'll allow me, this transitions perfectly to what I want to talk about, Ross, because Artem Zub had 2 assists.
Yeah.
And you talk about a great pass from Sanderson. Yep, agreed. It was good. But Artem Zub's pass to set up Nick Cousins' goal, I rewatched that because Nick Cousins accepts that pass over the blue line, but he's not offside because it's a perfectly placed pass that he can accept it and then enter the zone. And that's blue line to blue line from Artem Zub there. And then nothing fires me up. And I feel like nothing should fire a player up more than a successful reverse hit. Marty Necas ran into a Russian brick house, and he was not ready for that. It completely stifled him. Like, you see him going for that hit in the corner, and he's not looking to absolutely lay Zub out. He's just like, I'm going to play hard on Zub here. I'm going to finish my check. Just bonk, bounced right off him, and then he's on the ground like, oh, what happened? And Zub is just like, no big deal. Just goes to the bench like, good shift. And Necas is in shambles there. So I thought Artem Zub, obviously you got to wax poetically about Sanderson's game, but I thought Zub was almost, if at least equally as impressive.
Nice when you get those extra pluses at the end of the game with the empty net. And I saw some people were saying, I know our guy Brandon Miller, not Brandon Piller, Brandon Miller, was saying like, hey, yeah, MacKinnon was -3 for the first time all season, but 2 of those were empty net goals. Well, shouldn't the team with 6 skaters on the ice with all that talent be a plus? I don't know.
You know what, Ross? If anything, that should be a double minus because you don't get plus minus on a power play with the man advantage. So,
exactly.
I mean,
but if you score shorty, you do. So there you go. Yeah. No. But jokes aside, I mean, they held him to be very frustrated, and hopefully the dog gets unleashed tonight because we go from being against the Avalanche to right back on their side. We'll get to later on in the show, the out-of-town scoreboard. The Sens are one of only 2 teams not playing tonight. There's 15 games in the NHL. But you look at what Ottawa was able to do, only allowing 18 shots on goal, the tied for second fewest amount they've given up all season. The fewest was 13 in that 7-1 win against the Washington Capitals. And they didn't give up a single power play in this game. Saw some Avalanche fans very shocked, stunned, if you will, by that. Continuously notifying that the Senators are one of the highest penalized teams in the league, but there's not one play. I saw them going after Brady Tkachuk for his hit on Sam Malinsky. I saw John Michael Lyles, and hey, Lyles, how about a little respect for your former goaltender? Hey, him and James Reimer used to be teammates. Hey, what happened to that union?
Unbelievable.
Well, he said that Malinsky took 2 strides after getting rid of the puck before Brady hit him. He didn't even move his feet. This was in the flash of a pan. So I was a little shocked by that. And they said he got his elbow up. No, that was shoulder. It's not Brady's fault. He's 6'4", and Sam Malinski's 5'10" on skates. So I'm not worried about that play, but I didn't think there was an egregious play. And look, it's not like Colorado was penalized a whole lot. They had 3 penalties in this game. 2 of them were obvious, and 1 I thought was a soft call. I thought the Taylor Makar on Drake Batherson call did not need to be made. I mean, delay a game. Sam Malinski shot the puck over the boards. That is a 0 argument penalty. And then, I mean, Shabbat's trying to get the puck out of the zone, and he gets tripped. Like, that's a penalty on Arturi Lehkonen. So I didn't think that the refs had an impact in this game.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And Ross, your key to victory was discipline. Taking 0 penalties, that's a mighty good discipline right there.
It certainly is. There were some performances. You guys did a lot of great work in the postcast, but one player that wasn't mentioned needs to be. And we'll discuss that next as we continue wrapping up a 5-2 win over the Avalanche before turning the page to what we're looking around the National Hockey League at tonight and up until the Olympic break. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Instead of struggling to get your job post seen, Indeed sponsored jobs helps your listing stand out and reach quality candidates faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listener of this show, you're going to get yourself a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Senators podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed.
Are you looking for a place that lives and breathes hockey? If so, the GLEBE Central Pub is the spot for you. It's right in the heart of the Glebe at 779 Bank Street, just steps from Lansdowne. It's the perfect place to catch every game, every night, with great food and drink and even better company. But the GCP, it's more than just about catching the big game. There's something happening almost every night of the week to appeal to everybody. Have wing night on Monday, trivia on Tuesdays, open mic nights on Wednesdays, and cheap tacos every Thursday. All roads lead to Saturday night, which features live music with no cover ever. Plus, the Sens Shuttle is just $18 round trip to and from the CTC. It leaves an hour and 15 minutes before the game and brings you back to the pub afterwards. Circle on your calendar March 14th, the matinee against the Anaheim Ducks. We're going to be boots on the bus. They're going to go round and round right to and from the CTC. So go to the place where the vibes are free. It's the GCP. Visit them at 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen each and every day, and for making the Locked On Senators podcast the #1 sports podcast on the NHL channel. Locked On Podcast Network, #1 sports podcast network. Is that good? We also want to let you know about the Everydayers Club, just $5 USD a month, $15 for our absolute all access pass. You can go check that out more. LockedOnSenators.supercast.com. All right, Pilsy, did you know that the Ottawa Senators are 5th in the National Hockey League in goals this season?
I did not know that, Ross.
It's a very good stat until you look ahead of them on this list. And there are 4 Atlantic teams on this list. The Senators are tied with the Sabres, 176 goals. The Habs have scored 2 more. Boston is right there too with 178. So that's what we're up against in the Atlantic Division right now. It's a high-flying offensive division. And then you look and you think, hey, man, Ottawa's advantage is how good they are defensively. They just needed to get some saves. And last night, James Reimer, his equilibrium, word of the day, equilibrium, was perfect. He had a plus 0.5 goals saved above expected. The Senators are now 17, because the Vegas game too, 17-0-1 in games where they get an above 0 goal saved above expected. This team has been awesome defensively, and it leads me into a player that not many would expect. Look, we already gave our flowers to the shutdown line and the back end. Brady Tkachuk scored the empty net goal, Pilsy, because he was out there defending a 1-goal lead. I thought this was one of Brady Tkachuk's better games of the last stretch, and he was physical. He was defensively responsible. He gets rewarded with a goal because of it, and he was shooting the puck early in the game. I felt like the first 5 minutes, he had a very clear objective to put pucks on net and play in the offensive zone. So I think Brady Tkachuk deserves a little bit of love for the way that he played last night.
All right, I'll allow it. Some love to the captain for sure. And unless there's more you wanted to say on Brady Tkachuk, Ross, another guy that I think went a little unnoticed, but after doing some digging later on, Shane Pinto had a better game than he was credited for. I think a lot of Sens fans, and he was my locked on player, it was hard to really notice him because he didn't contribute offensively. He didn't get really great opportunities. But when your job, your task, shift in and shift out, is find a way to shut down Nathan MacKinnon, you're probably not going to pop off offensively. You're just going to have your hands full trying to contain that guy. And he did a good job of that, so he deserves a little love as well. For sure. He got cleaned out in the face-off dot, but that's the only place where he did not look good. MacKinnon went 10-2 in 12 face-offs head-to-head. Against Shane Pinto. But hey, he played well defensively, and you could tell, like, everyone knows that you're going to try to match up Shane Pinto's line against the other team's top players, but I don't know if it's ever been as evident and as consistent as it was last night. How often is Tim Stützle fourth among Sens forwards in ice time? 1, 2, 3 were defensive-minded players. And look, Nick Cousins did a great job on that line, but they also had Ridley Gregg playing a ton. Ridley Gregg was third in ice time for the Ottawa Senators in this game for forwards. Michael Amadio played 20 minutes and 13 seconds, and Shane Pinto played 22-19. Wow.
So this was a complete coaching masterclass as well for Travis Green not allowing Jared Bednar to sneak MacKinnon on the ice away from Shane Pinto. And we can look it up here. Natural stat trick, Nathan MacKinnon, 5-on-5 ice time. He played 16:51 against Shane Pinto, and this is out of a total. I've got to pull up his on-ice 5-on-5 minutes. So Nathan MacKinnon played 21-16 in this game, and 17 of those minutes were against Shane Pinto. 16.5 were against Jake Sanderson, and 16-19 were against Artem Zub. Like, he must be waking up just in cold sweats thinking about trying to get past these guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They deserve a lot of credit there. And like you mentioned, shout out Travis Green, making sure those matchups are right, focusing on that, because I mentioned it in the live stream, Ross. The Colorado Avalanche are the type of team where you can be the better team in, let's do math here, 59 minutes and 45 seconds. But if MacKinnon or Makar burns you in the 15 seconds, you're not the better team, you can end up losing this game. Like, that's how tight the margins are when you're up against generational talents, not only on forward, but defense as well. So now, it was a good job all around.
It's kind of funny, though, because the line that he played the second most against, and it's only 3 minutes, was the Batherson, Giroux, Stützle line. And the shot attempts were actually 6-1 Ottawa during those 3 minutes. So interesting to note, but you got to give stick taps to those guys, man. Every time they're on the ice, I'm talking about MacKinnon and Makar. Like, we don't see them much, obviously, in the East. Every shift, you notice them. Like, just they have like a different presence about them when they're skating. So it's one where it feels like we're doing a lot of glazing here, but those are arguably the best forward and best defenseman in the league. And Connor McDavid is obviously 1A, but we talked about it yesterday. Most points per game against the Ottawa Senators, it was MacKinnon and McDavid, 1-2 of all time. Minimum 20 games played against them. So Ottawa just did a great job defending them, and I think that's the story of this game, is that they still found a way to score. And again, it's 3 goals really in all intents and purposes, but you add that extra 2, it looks like a more lopsided game. But this was as tightly checking of a playoff style game as I think we've seen the Senators play. So they deserve a lot of credit, and rightfully so. And this is the type of game where you can't have a letdown game after these last two. Since Pillsy pressed the panic button, the Sens have won 7-1 against Vegas and 5-2 against Colorado.
I would never in my wildest dreams have thought these would be the results against these opponents right after I panicked. And I held off so long. I had people ridiculing me. I had people being like, Pillsy, enough with this panic button bit. If you haven't pressed it by now, then you're just trolling us. And I was like, no, I swear it just doesn't feel right yet. I got to wait for the right time. And the key is, and I had people remind me of this, and it's true, the panic button, you don't press it when you're like, damn it, that's the end of the season, white flag, it's over. That's when you're like, oh man, we got to turn things around here because the way things are looking are bleak. So shout out the Ottawa Senators, Travis Green, Steve Stais, Michael Andlauer for tuning into LOSP and being like, oh damn, Pillsy finally pressed it. Like, we lost positive Pillsy and panic pessimistic Pillsy is here. Let's pull up our bootstraps and really figure this out. So
why
you got to
didn't
give
you
him
do
credit
that?
there.
Why didn't you do that 2 months ago then?
Because it didn't feel right, Ross. I don't do it because I'm like, you know what? It seems like this would be a fun time, or this is when the season should turn around. It's got to feel right, and it felt right. And the hockey gods and karma are rewarding my patience and me being a mere, as Williams Marshall would say, a mere conduit of the panic button.
Yep. No, that's good. You felt it, you did it, and it worked out, at least so far. Look, you got to beat the New Jersey Devils. That's a team right around you. You got 2 more days off right now, and you're watching everyone else in the league play. We'll talk about that on the other side. I was going to save this for the other side, but Pills, you bring up karma. Yes. Do you think some negative karma affected the Colorado Avalanche last night? And I'm talking about their radio play-by-play announcer taking to social media with a photo of the chair in the press box for the Colorado Avalanche and just torching not only the chair, but the comment section. His coworkers are coming at the city of Ottawa, coming at the Senators organization. Dude, it's a chair.
No, I don't think that was bad karma, Ross. I don't know if you want to pull the picture up, because this is an abomination. I mean, it's the visitors' radio chair. So like, if I'm Michael Andlauer and I'm looking at my list of priorities, it's very low on the list. But if you're watching on YouTube, I mean, this cannot be a chair that is still in use. We got duct tape, we got clear tape, we got red tape, and it's, what did he say? It's been there for years. Like, we gotta find some money in the budget to replace that chair. So I don't think that's bad karma by him. If anything, he's just like, hey, this is a proud organization. We gotta clean this up, Ottawa. So I don't blame him at all there.
He said, years ago, I smashed my finger under this chair in Ottawa. Today, it still exists, fixed as to not injure any future generations. A harsh reminder of the past. But what I didn't like was this guy, his coworker, saying Ottawa's finest, big spenders there in Ottawa. The home decor is top notch. Vic Lombardi, buddy. I'd say have a seat, but I don't want you sitting on our furniture anymore.
Yeah. I also like this. I don't know why I'm noticing this, but I like how he capitalized notch.
Yeah. Interesting. Check out Eric, our guy. You are where you sit. Got him for sure. And the Senators got
actually Ross, that maybe I'm changing my mind on this. You know how the Miami Dolphins, their home stadium, they planned it so that the visiting team is in the sun more often. Oh yeah. Huge strategic play. That's like old time military stuff, being like, let's make our opponents suffer.
Yeah. You know what I used to do? When I was leaving the second period of minor hockey games, I'd carve the crease up with the heel of my goalie skate.
Oh, nice. Hopefully those games don't go to OT and you switch sides again.
Yeah, exactly. But I knew there was no Zambonis coming out there, and even still, I would carve.
I like that. That's the mindset you got to have. So actually, I'm assuming there's 2 chairs in that radio booth. let's get Curtis McDermott up there and just be like, smash up that second chair.
But he could be our ambassador too, because he won a cup with Colorado. So he could go up there and say, hey, let's do this democratically and just have a conversation. I'm convinced that the Ottawa Senators have that chair in storage and they know that this guy was being a pain in the rear end, literally, because of this. And maybe he had made a stink about it. And they're like, for one game a year, we keep this chair and we put it in that guy's booth.
Yeah, we actually had velvet lined chairs, but we're gonna put those back in the
exactly
the bellows. No, the hollows. What do you call
probably the attic, because it's up in the press box.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're not gonna bring it. Bowels. That's the word I was looking for.
That would be an event level. No, this has to be up in the attic.
It's more work than you need. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Spartacat goes and gets it before every game. He keeps it in his cage, in his little loft up there.
The only thing this chair needs now, Ross, is let's keep the rainbow of tape going. I would like some yellow caution tape on there next time the Avalanche are here.
So Connor McGahey, who I don't know much about him, but I've heard a lot of bad things about not like bad people at all, but just like they're very homerish at the Colorado Avalanche broadcast. It's very widely known, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go heel, I'm expecting him to tweet out tonight that the Shane shows are cold in the press box at the Bell Center.
Yep.
Just lean into it, buddy.
Or the worst part of the Bell Center, and I could do a whole rant of the worst parts of the Bell Center, overrated arena. He knocks his head walking in the concourse, because I don't know when they built that thing, but people were much smaller in those times. I was ducking and dodging and weaving all the way through the concourse of the Bell Center. So
do you think that's why they drafted Cole Caulfield and Lane Hudson?
For safety purposes. That's actually smart. Yep.
Michael McCarron was never going to work out there.
Yeah, I'm surprised they went with Slavkovsky. That's got to be a real issue.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's too good. All right. Well, we'll be hate watching that one tonight and a whole lot more. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Rocket Money. Let's be real, managing your finances can feel overwhelming between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control, and who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in. The personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I was shocked when Rocket Money showed I was paying for a subscription that I completely forgot about. So it's already saved me money because it tracks my subscriptions and lets me cancel them right in the app. Just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers and going on that wild goose hunt to get your subscriptions canceled. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon or rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
All right, Pillsy, the Senators with back-to-back wins, now up to a record of 25, 21, and 7. That's good for 57 points. It also brings them into the congestion of the mid-tier wildcard chase. They're now tied in points with Philadelphia, Columbus, Toronto, and Washington, 1 point ahead of the New Jersey Devils. And then there's the Rangers way down below. The Senators are 8 points behind the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, that said, Ottawa does have a game in hand against Boston. And you look at Montreal. They fell down from that third Atlantic Division spot. They are tied with the Bruins, or the Sabres rather. And the Sabres have a game in hand on Montreal. That's where the discrepancy comes in there. But the Habs have fallen a little bit back down to earth, and they've got the Avalanche coming in there tonight. So if we're looking around the league at games tonight, as mentioned, there's plenty. I'm looking at the Avalanche being really, really solid tonight. I'm hoping at least.
And Nathan MacKinnon, that guy is a different beast. When he has a game where he was shut down like this, I think he's going to turn it up another notch here. So yeah, let's see the Avalanche get back to form tonight.
As we talked about, Nathan MacKinnon, no points against the Ottawa Senators. A little stat for you here, brother. Actually, it has happened once, and it was back-to-back games on the road against Atlantic Division teams. But Nathan MacKinnon has only been held without a point in 2 consecutive games once this season in 51 games played. Wow. So I might go with a little FanDuel action. MacKinnon 2 points and an Avalanche regulation win. Regulation is the key here when it comes to Boston and Montreal, right? 1, because Montreal doesn't lose in overtime. They are 3-on-3 Stanley Cup champions. If they were in the EASHL in the little 3-on-3, they would be absolutely the best team in the league. So we need Colorado to win that game in regulation tonight. You look at the Boston Bruins, they're taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. So look, it's not ideal either way. The Flyers, who are tied with the Senators in points, we're cheering for them to get 2. For 2 reasons. 1, the Metropolitan Division, the 3rd spot there is less than the wild card spot, so they can jockey between Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. That's fine. You can throw the Islanders in there too, although I do think they will finish with the top 3 Metropolitan team. But the good news is Philadelphia lost to Columbus last night, so it's not like they're getting on a roll here either necessarily. But those are the 2 games now. Look, Ottawa did what it could to get back with this clump of teams, but now that you're there, it's about those 2 wild card spots. That's what we care about the most.
Agreed. Yep. And more specifically, the Atlantic teams, because like you mentioned, the wild card spots are technically available to Metro teams. The Atlantic Division has been like, no, you can't sit here. Go to that taped up chair that is the Metro Division, and the Atlantic Division, we get the nice seats. Ross, do we want to pull up our little table that we made of the upcoming games? And then I have a debate question conversation starter for you after.
Okay, great. This is the LOSP graphics department deep into our work. So these numbers in terms of beside the team name, that's before the first game there, because we want to do a before and after this final 5-game push for most teams, 5-game push all the way up to the Olympic break. Notice that Boston only has 4. So the Sens are going to be tied in games played with Boston by the time the Olympic break comes around. And this game here in particular and against Tampa are huge, because for Florida and Boston, somebody's getting 2 points there. You're just cheering for no overtime in that game. So what do you got for us?
First off, which of these teams are you now rooting the hardest against after the way things shook out yesterday? Or the last 2 games?
After Montreal and Boston, because those are 1-2. You got to be rooting against Buffalo and Detroit. And I know that some people are not listening to me with Detroit, but I truly, in the heart of hearts, believe
I'm letting Detroit go, Ross.
Yeah, I'm not.
But I'm letting them go.
No, they're on my radar here. I got the deep fishing gear out, and I'm looking to go to maybe where some people aren't comfortable. Look at their games left, dude. Yeah, Washington, Colorado. Do not say that, dude. Don't discredit what we just pulled off. And then
we don't have to play them anymore. So overrated team.
But what do you mean? Now that we don't have to play them anymore, we're like the biggest Colorado fans whenever they're playing the East.
It's true. I am a fan of them now, but no, okay, I take that back. Best team.
Should take it.
They're going to beat the Red Wings. So, Ross, an analogy I'm looking at here is your deep sea charter fishing to jump onto your analogy.
I got my rod in the water,
and I got a rod holding the Leafs, the Panthers, the Boston Bruins, the Montreal Canadiens, and I think that's it. You can only hold on to so many fish and so many rods that you try to reel in. So the one with Detroit on it, I just let that one go. The one with Buffalo, I begrudgingly also let that one go. You just got to focus on those 4 teams, in my opinion: Toronto, Florida, Boston, Montreal.
Damn, even though 2 of those 4 teams aren't even in a playoff spot. So you're conceding that there's only 2 playoff spots available for the Senators right now?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
All right.
It might sound crazy, Ross, but I've let go of the idea of being a top 3 team in the Atlantic Division.
Well, yeah, I guess so. From that standpoint, I can understand, but I mean, they're going to fall back down to earth. I've only let go of Tampa. I'm holding on.
Wow. Okay.
I'm holding on.
You're a stronger man than me.
Yeah.
You're going after bigger fish. I'm trying to eat a bunch of little fish.
I honestly, and I know they're 6 points back of them, I'm more inclined to let go of Buffalo than I am Detroit. Buffalo's like, what is it, 19-3-1 right now in their last number of games? That's crazy.
They are an absolute wagon. Yeah, that's for sure. Now, my conversation starter I wanted to have with you is look at the Ottawa Senators, their remaining games. Now you just beat the Colorado Avalanche. So rank these games in importance of, we'll say, regulation wins.
Yes.
The New Jersey Devils, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Philadelphia Flyers. How are you power ranking those games? And I'm not just talking the team and standings. I'm talking situationally as well. What are the most important games for you of those four? Go.
That's so funny that you say that like that, because it does change my thought process.
Yes.
I was going to go full Travis Green, and I was going to say the next day and the next game is the most important. You just got to win the day and then worry about the next one.
Come on. Indulge me here.
Number one is definitely the next game. You have to keep this roll. You have to beat an Eastern Conference team, a team that's around you in the standings that has sold off parts in the last week. That's the most important game. It's also the last home game before the Olympics. No, that's number one.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two is the Philadelphia Flyers game on February 5th, because I want this team going into the Olympic break on a winning note, get those 2 points, put them in the bank. Then it's the Pittsburgh game. One, you have a better chance of winning than the Carolina game. And two, it's the first half of back-to-back. So statistically, it's a more likely game you're going to have your legs and get the victory. Carolina's the one. If you can go 4-1 before the Olympic break and you lose to Carolina, my thoughts on how this team will fare the rest of the season will not change.
Yeah, so Philly is my number one, because that's a team you got to find a way to beat. Their goaltending's not been good, and you want to go into that break on a high, on a win. The only caveat I'll have, Ross, little asterisk, is depending on what game Allmark starts his return, that is probably going to be my number one. And so if it's the Devils, I agree. The only reason that the home game thing I don't count as much is you're coming off 7-1 win and 5-2 win against Colorado. Like if they had lost one, or God forbid both of those games, then oh my God, this game up against the Devils would be even more important. I'm not trying to downplay it. I'm just trying to talk through it. But for me, heading into the break with that win is absolutely huge. And maybe I'm overthinking it, because it's going to be I think 21 days until their next game. So it's not like 21 days later, 3 weeks later, math guy, they're going to be like, man, that's so awesome. We got that win a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I certainly agree that the Carolina game is number 4, Pittsburgh 3, and then you can switch to those 1 and 2, however you like.
Out of town cheering guide. We'll post this later at Sens Central. We want the Flyers over the Bruins, the LA Kings over the Buffalo Sabres, the Colorado Avalanche over the Montreal Canadiens. Lesser, but still would be cool if Winnipeg could beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. You've got the Predators. We need them to beat the New Jersey Devils. We need the Chicago Blackhawks to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Capitals to get over the Detroit Red Wings, although that one, it seems like guys like you who are letting the Red Wings go would say, hey, just let the Red Wings win.
No. I'm the other way on that. I want Washington to lose. Remember how I taught you how to word these? I want Washington to lose.
Right. Needs to be regulation. But we got more East versus West. 2 more with Atlantic Division teams. We need the St. Louis Blues to beat the Florida Panthers, and the Seattle Kraken, who just did Ottawa a favor the other night with Washington, need them to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, because, man, it feels good not being last in the division. That belongs, as we talk right now, to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes. I mean, they're tied in points and points percentage, but yes.
But that's ridiculous, because Ottawa has an extra win. Like, it doesn't even have to go to regulation wins, which Ottawa's also ahead.
It's true.
Toronto has 2 extra loser points. So
no, I shouldn't have even said that, Ross. We're ahead of them in the standings. They are last. Bums.
Ottawa jumped 3 teams with that win last night. But again, they've got 2 days off right now. We talked about all the games that are happening tonight. There's only one game tomorrow where we'll be rooting for Chicago to beat Columbus. No, Chicago's playing Pittsburgh right now. I feel like Chicago and Columbus just played, or maybe they got 2 games coming up. Anyways, we could look at our handy dandy chart.
They have 2 games coming up.
They do, yes. They play them next, and then they play them as well next week, the last game before the break. So, look, these 2 wins, they go a long way for the confidence of the group. They go a long way for the confidence of the fan base, but you got to follow it up on Saturday night. The Sens are off the ice today. We'll expect them to be practicing tomorrow, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have an update on whether Linus Ullmark will start that game at home against a team he's played very well against and in his entire career. It's going to be a big one. At home against the New Jersey Devils. Pillsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts for me is I believe in miracles again, Ross. I pressed the panic button not but a few days ago, and now I believe again. I thought I was out. I'm going to be real. I was like, this is going to be a long couple months covering this team every day, but I am so back in, and I believe once again. So keep tapping like the Ted Lasso sign. Keep tapping that believe sign because we're still in this one, guys.
That's what we're tapping now because you just pressed the panic button. You tapped it.
Yeah, we're switching what we're tapping. Well, I didn't just tap the panic button. I smashed it. So if you want to smash the believe sign, do that as well if you're okay with fixing drywall. But we're past panic and we're on to believe.
And it's all systems go for the Ottawa Senators heading up to the Olympic break. Thanks so much for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. Please subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. For today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.